Alright guys, BLM here, back with a new video. In this video, I'll be talking about the future of the Amazing Race. Now obviously I've done videos like this for Survivor and Big Brother, but I've been waiting a little while for the Amazing Race just because Amazing Race has been in limbo for quite a while now, where obviously Amazing Race 32 was filmed almost, a year and a half ago now, and it's just now getting around to being aired, and really just it became so unsure of what CBS was going to do with the Amazing Race. Both the air date of Amazing Race 32 having been announced, and also we know what happened with 33. I feel like now is probably the right time to do this video. So I might as well start off the video talking about what we know for sure about the future of the Amazing Race, which obviously Amazing Race 32, as I said, was filmed, I believe, back at the end of 2018, and has been on the back burner for a while for CBS. And I think that makes it really clear at this point for CBS that they look at the Amazing Race as filler, and I think that became really clear for Amazing Race 31 as well, where that one was filmed like a full year before it eventually aired. And a lot of the reason why it aired when it did, it was because $1 Million Mile was a complete bomb and they needed something to replace it with, so they said, hey, we'll do Amazing Race. And I feel like that's kind of the spot Amazing Race is at right now. Again, it's a show that performs solid. It's like a consistently rated show, but it's not a show that it seems like they have much faith in anymore. It's like kind of the backup. It's kind of like they're going to try new things. If those new things don't work out, they're going to put Amazing Race. Like, it really feels like they're trying to get rid of the show if they can, which is a shame because I do enjoy the Amazing Race. I mean, obviously I love shows like Survivor and Big Brother more. I'm more of a strategy person when it comes to reality TV, but I mean, Amazing Race is still a lot of fun. There's still a lot of fun characters, some great moments, and it would be a shame to see Amazing Race get taken off the air. That's the thing though. I don't see Amazing Race getting outright canceled. I do think Amazing Race is more likely to get canceled than Survivor or Big Brother. I think those two shows are very secure with where they're at right now, while Amazing Race, again, is just kind of up in the air. But I kind of see this current process that we're going through where like seasons are being aired like a year or even a year and a half after it was initially filmed. I kind of see that process kind of continuing. I could see them like filming one season a year and then they just air it whenever they feel like. Like, that's kind of the sort of format I see from this point forward. We obviously learned about Amazing Race 33, which was being filmed earlier this year, but had to stop production due to coronavirus. And I really don't know what they're going to do with that season at this point. From what I understand, they recorded, I think, like 3 or 4 legs, and then after that, the show got obviously canceled or delayed or whatever, postponed. I don't know what they really called it, but are they going to actually continue on with it after the coronavirus? I think that would be actually really interesting if they can get like 8 or 9 teams that are left in the race. If they can get those teams to come back and finish off the race, that would be really interesting. Or are they going to like redo the season? Are they going to like start it off from like fresh with everyone, even the teams that were eliminated, just start the race again? Or are they just going to outright cancel the season? To be honest, I kind of see the latter happening. I mean, actually, I don't know, because it's like, would they want to waste that 3 to 4 episodes that they recorded? I think that's really the main question here, is if they're willing to waste that footage. I don't think they're going to redo the season from the beginning. I don't think they're going to get the same cast together and race again. Like, that doesn't really make sense in my eyes. It's probably leaning more so just scrapping the season, just doing another one, but I would still like to see it finished. I mean, again, they started the season, why not finish it? But with the current state of the world and everything, like, who knows when that'll eventually be? It'll be kind of weird where, like, in between episodes, they say, oh yeah, we recorded this, like, a year after the previous episode. It's, like, just weird. So because I am leaning more so towards them just scrapping the season as a whole and just redoing it. I mean, maybe they could get back some of the teams that they had on the original Amazing Race 33, I mean, who knows? But in reality, I just don't really see it happening that way. But I am pretty confident that once the world returns to normal, which again, who knows when that'll be. This is the thing about Amazing Race as well, is that I feel like Amazing Race is the show that's affected the most by the coronavirus, because Big Brother, I mean, I think is barely affected. I mean, outside of the crew and obviously having to quarantine the players probably for 2 weeks or whatever, Big Brother can technically still happen. And then with Survivor, I think Survivor is going to have the be delayed. Obviously, I don't see how they get a season filmed and aired by the end of the year. So Survivor obviously has the same issues as Big Brother, with obviously you need to have people that don't have the coronavirus, both from the crew and the cast. But then also you add in the factor of Fiji, keeping the people of Fiji safe while also keeping the people safe while in Fiji. It's like there's multiple factors there. There's obviously travel involved. That's not great. But Amazing Race is even worse than that, because Amazing Race, you're literally traveling across the entire world. So for Amazing Race to truly be filmed in the way that it used to be, at least, you need the entire world to be free of coronavirus, or at least be filming only in locations that don't have it. But again, that's such a tough thing to do. Again, Amazing Race is severely going to be affected by the coronavirus, and I don't think it means cancellation. Again, I have full faith Amazing Race will come back at some point. It's just who knows when that will be at this point. Because I feel confident in saying that Big Brother will air by the end of the year. I feel confident in saying Survivor will air again by sometime next year. I don't have that confidence with Amazing Race. Amazing Race, I literally have no clue when it's going to air again. So that's pretty much the current state of the Amazing Race right now. Now let's move on to some other topics. Let's talk about Phil Kogan, the host, obviously. And this is just a minor topic that I like to bring up in these future of videos is he going to stay on the show? There's never been any inclination of Phil Kogan wanting to quit the Amazing Race. Jeff Probst has wanted to quit Survivor. Julie Chen, I could see her quitting. She doesn't care. Phil Kogan, though, he seems to genuinely love the show, and he seems to be someone that genuinely loves making the show, and I think because of that, I don't see Phil leaving anytime soon. And also mixing that in with the fact that it's not a super intensive job. He's not like an executive producer like Jeff Probst is. It's a relatively simple job, so I don't think it's something that age is really going to play a factor in whether Phil Kogan can continue to do the job or not. So I really don't see him leaving anytime soon. We can talk about the possibility of another All-Star season on The Amazing Race. To be honest, I don't see it happening anytime soon. I feel like Amazing Race at this point is kind of going down the Big Brother route of just wanting newbie casts, or at least a majority newbie cast. I feel like they're not super incentivized to do all-star seasons. Both of the previous all-star seasons, the ones named all-stars, were both looked at pretty negatively from the fan base. Unfinished Business was definitely looked at a lot better, but it's like, I just don't feel like they have much incentive to really do it again. Especially with how they're filming, where they're only doing one season a year now. I think at this point, they're kind of more into gimmicky sort of casting. Like Reality Showdown, I thought was a pretty big success for them in 31. While ratings weren't like necessarily that massive of a jump or anything, I do think that's the sort of thing that they're going to be looking at is Reality Showdown. I think that's something that can happen again very soon. I think inclusion of pairs from other shows. Amazing Race 33 had a pair from Love Island. Obviously on Amazing Race 30, we had Jessica and Cody. I do think that sort of gimmicky casting is something that could continue on in the future. And to be honest, I really enjoyed Reality Showdown. If it wasn't for Amazing Race 31, I wouldn't be as much into The Amazing Race as I currently am. A lot of the reason why I went back and rewatched the entire series is because I really love seeing the Big Brother and Survivor players on there, and really love seeing Colin and Christy, and me deciding to go back and just watch their season. That's really what started it all for me. So I wouldn't mind another Reality Showdown, especially because I think there's a lot of great pairs that they could bring back for it. I already did a casting video about it, and I think that's a pretty strong cast, and there's so many other possibilities there as well. Now we can talk about some of the twists in the game. I did really like the U-turn vote. I actually thought that was a really fun addition to the game, especially for that Reality Showdown season, which obviously to add a social strategy element to the game I thought was a very good idea. And I even think it would work on future seasons. Making The Amazing Race a more strategic game is something that I would personally enjoy. Again, that's the type of reality television I love. I love Survivor, Big Brother, The Genius. Well, I do love things like The Amazing Race and Circle. It's like I feel like the strategic element of those games could be implemented a lot better, because I do think there's a lot of strategy involved with The Amazing Race. Obviously, there's a lot of physicality as well. And to be honest, the physicality is probably the bigger portion of it. But I do think you can add a lot more strategic elements to the game. And I do think the U-turn vote was a great step forward for that. Talk about the head-to-head, which I remember really liking on its first season. However, it really just disappointed in 31. I think overall as a concept, the more I think about it, the more I'm kind of down on it. I do like the idea of a kind of tournament to stay into the game, but it kind of nullifies the entire leg beforehand, and I don't think that's particularly great. And also, I don't like that one task at the very, very end could sink your ship. If you came in first on that leg, but you get a challenge that's not catered to you, you could get taken out despite arriving in first, and that just sucks. So I think overall, I am a bit down on this twist. I don't know if they brought it back for 32. I would think they did, if I'm being honest. But at this point, I do wish they kind of got rid of it, but we'll see. We can talk about the Express Pass, which I feel like they've started to give out less, right? I feel like there was definitely that era in Amazing Race where every season on the first leg, they would give people express passes. And I feel like now that's not really as much of a thing. And express passes, I think they add another layer of strategy to the game, especially with the way that they started to implement them, where they would give the team 2 and they would have to give 1 away to another team. And again, that added some social strategy there. Do I need it back? Not necessarily. I mean, I do think there are better strategic elements that they've added to the game outside of the express pass, but that is something that they seem to have shied away from recently. We can talk about the fast forward, which I used to love the fast forward. I mean, looking back at the older seasons, that was one of my favorite elements of those seasons, was the strategy of when to use your fast forward. Because like back then, every leg had a fast forward, and you can only use the fast forward once throughout the entire season. So you had to strategically use your fast forward, know when to use it, know when another team isn't going to use it, and that sort of stuff was fun to me. Now, I don't think this is ever coming back, and I think a lot of that has to do with budget reasons, which is something I haven't even talked about somehow, is that obviously the budget for Amazing Race is significantly lower than what it used to be. I mean, they used to be able to have people book like multiple flights and then just cancel flights and like change all that stuff. Now they're like stuck with a flight once they book it. A lot of that, again, having to do with budget reasons. The race itself has definitely become a lot more task based, where it isn't really about traveling from place to place to place to place like it used to be. It's more so now contained within a few tasks. And again, I think that helps with their budget as well, where they can contain the race in a smaller area, and it helps with their filming process as well. And I think the fast forward, I think, again, the main reason for that not being in existence right now is because of budget reasons. Because obviously when you have a fast forward every single leg, that's an extra task you have to add to the leg that really doesn't really add much to the show. So again, that's extra money that's being dished out that doesn't really need to be there. Again, I personally like it being there. I think it's a fun element of strategy to the race, but I get why it's not there. And finally, let's just talk about the general progression of the show. Where, I mean, I mentioned this already, where the show has definitely become a lot more budget friendly. It's definitely become a lot more focused on tasks and challenges than it was on the actual traveling element. And for me, I don't actually mind that. I mean, I've never been someone that watched The Amazing Race for the traveling stuff. I mean, I mostly watch the show for the characters, for fun moments, which usually tasks do end up bringing. So I personally don't mind the change to like task-focused courses, though I understand why a lot of die-hard older Amazing Race fans aren't happy with the way that the show's progressed. Like, I've never been someone that looked at the route and really made that determine how I looked at a season. I know a lot of people hate like certain seasons just because of like how the route is mapped out, and it's like that's something I just don't care about. But that's pretty much it. I feel like I feel like that's most of what I have to say about the future of The Amazing Race. I mean, I love The Amazing Race. I mean, it's a show that I just think is a lot of fun to watch. A lot of great characters. There are some pretty bad seasons, but I think the seasons that are pretty great are some of the best seasons in all of reality television. I mean, seasons like Amazing Race 3, Amazing Race 5. I mean, Amazing Race 31 was great. Amazing Race 29. I mean, I do think we're on a decent streak of seasons. I mean, I don't think there's been a bad season, for me personally, of Amazing Race since 26. So I hope 32 obviously continues this trend, and hopefully, once we get more seasons down the road, it will continue to be as strong. So that's pretty much it for the future of The Amazing Race. But I might as well give an update, I guess, on The Amazing Race Canada, because I did say in one of my previous videos that I was going to start watching Amazing Race Canada and do a season ranking and do videos about that. And I'm sorry, I haven't been able to get to it yet. I mean, to be honest, I've been pretty busy, and to be honest, that's like the least of my priorities right now. I have been trying to get into the international circle seasons, and I will be doing videos on those. Obviously, Winners at War's happening. Trying to get some international Survivor videos done as well. There's some game videos I want to do. So, I mean, like, overall, I just don't have time for Amazing Race Canada right now. I will try to get to it when I can, but I can't promise that'll be anytime soon. That's pretty much it for the future of The Amazing Race. Thank you for watching.